does your body feel like in zero gravity?
What inspires you to become an astronaut?
What exercise do you do, and do you sweat in space?
Would a yo-yo work in microgravity?
So it works.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, I am ready for the event.
Glenn Research Center, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Glenn Research Center. How do you hear me?
Glenn Research Center, this is the International Space Station. We have you loud and clear. Welcome.
Good morning and welcome to the NASA Glenn Research Center. I'm Maria Arredondo with the Office of Education. Today we have 32 ninth grade students from the True to You Summer Leadership Academy currently working on obtaining skills that will help them create successful jobs and to become successful leaders in the future. These students are very excited to speak with you today, and they have already displayed exemplary leadership skills during the school year within the True to You mentoring program. These students are from various schools within the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. Let's hear from our first student.
Hi, my name is Shakira, and I would like to know what is the ultimate mission of the International Space Station?
Hi, Shakira, that's a great question. Hard to answer in just with one word or one sentence because the International Space Station, we do so many things up here. One of the biggest things we do is serve as a huge international laboratory, running experiments all the time. And I'll give you an example of that. This week and last week, we were actually doing cancer research. You know, unfortunately, many of us have a loved one or a grandmother or a parent or a friend who's been diagnosed with cancer. And any way we can try and beat that cancer, you know, we should strive towards. And here on the space station, we're actually doing studies on certain types of cells that help a cancer's blood supply to grow and trying to figure out how to kill those cells early so that tumor never gets to live very long, and hence we get to beat the cancer. This is very exciting research. I really love doing this. We did this last week, this week, and in the upcoming weeks as well. And so that's just one example of the incredible science that we do up here. The other thing is we use this as a platform to see how well humans do living in outer space. You know, how does the human body perform? How do we keep ourselves healthy with the ultimate goal of if we send humans beyond our planet, how will they perform? How will we do? So again, a great question, lots and lots of good answers, but this week, man, it's been all about the science and it's been great.
Hi, my name is Giovanni, and my question is, are there any planned expedition for Mars?
So again, another great question. Certainly Mars is in our plan. It's one of the places we need to get to. It's a little bit of a longer journey than we used to. And so kind of in order to practice for Mars and help us get ready for Mars, that's what we do up here on ISS. So for example, we learn how to essentially make water from urine. That's right. We drink our own pee the next day because we take that pee and we recycle it and clean it up and use that as water. And that sounds maybe kind of gross to you guys right now, but if you think about it, that's what we do on Earth as well. And so by using and developing technology like that, that's something we're going to have to use on the surface of Mars or while we are en route to Mars. So the way we learn how to live and work up here certainly translates towards a trip to Mars. And I'm certainly too old to be going to Mars, but I would not be surprised if one of you guys sitting in the room right now would be heading out there.
Hi, my name is Mael, and my question is, what is protocol is known as disconnected from the space station?
Okay, so when you say disconnected from the space station, I think you mean like if we're doing a spacewalk and someone accidentally comes off the space station. And so certainly we have a lot of safety measures in place to make sure that does not happen. We have these things called tethers, which are like long pieces of wire which keep us connected to the space station. Now, the good news is if all of those fail, all of our safety measures fail, we have a special, and let's call it a small jetpack called the SAFER. S-A-F-E-R, and it really keeps you safe. And it's located on the back of the spacesuit. So if the astronaut becomes disconnected, once they begin to stabilize, they can actually fire little tiny thrusters and aim back in towards the space station. And we actually practice this back in Houston before we ever launch. And we use something called virtual reality. If folks out there, if you guys like video games, it's kind of like a video game, but it's one that your life depends on. And we put a special set of goggles on and where we can picture the space station and picture getting ourselves using that rescue jetpack back to the space station.
My name is Cheyenne, and it says in your NASA biography that you served as Deputy Crew Surgeon for STS-127 and are board certified in internal and aerospace medicine. Do you help assist with medical needs on the space station?
Yes, I do. Certainly if anything were to come up, since I am a doctor, I would help out. We actually have a lot of medical equipment up here because we live up here for a long period of time, and we can't run out to a drugstore or go to a hospital very easily or an urgent care to get help if we need it. And so we've got a lot of different supplies and equipment. If someone has a really deep cut, we can practice stitching that up, and we've got the materials for that. We've got all kinds of medicines, the same ones you would use on the Earth if you were to get a cold or some sort of infection. And so hopefully I'd like to think of myself as pretty useful if that were to come up, since I do still practice medicine, and it's a lot of fun. The other part that's fun for me is because I used to be a doctor for the astronauts, and now I am an astronaut. And so it's really neat to see over those past 10 to 12 years how things have changed and how the medical packs have changed. And I think my other crewmates feel pretty comfortable knowing that I could help them if something were to happen.
Hi, my name is Damien, and how do you deal with loneliness aboard the space station?
Loneliness. I tell you, it is not too lonely up here. So there are 6 of us up here, and sometimes you feel like you're running into each other all day long. So Drew and I worked together on some research this morning in the U.S. lab. Ricky was working on another part of the space station, Alex on another, and then our 2 Russian cosmonaut crewmates, Oleg and Sergei. We just had a Progress supply vehicle dock late last night, and so they were up pretty late trying to get some of the supplies out of the vehicle that just docked with space station. So we sit together for meals. Often we are together for lunchtime and almost always for dinner time, and we'll gather in the evenings as a crew. And so that certainly helps. I feel like I have my own family up here to eat meals with and spend the days with and work together. But I can also pretty much call any cell phone at any time from here on board the space station, so I can talk to my husband, and I can talk to my mom and my dad and my sisters. And so for me, that's really great because I feel like I stay in touch, and they can send me emails and send me pictures and video from home, and that really helps. Sometimes just hearing the sounds of Earth, like a thunderstorm, is really neat because you do miss that up here.
Hello, my name is Joanne, and my question is, why did you decide to go to outer space?
You know, I kind of feel like outer space chose me. When I was just about your age, I was watching shuttle missions launch, and for me, I couldn't stop watching. I took over the television from my three sisters every evening and totally dominated and watched whatever I could learn about the space program and about NASA and how everything ran, and was just entranced and felt like I needed to be there. And you can call it your instinct, call it a gut reaction. I knew that's what I wanted to do. I knew that's where I was going to be someday. And so when you have that feeling, when you feel like something is right for you, pay attention to that. It's very hard for us to describe it to people, because we talk about it as, again, a gut feeling, or it just feels right. And it usually is. So pay attention to that. If you see someone's job and you like what they do, for example, if they're a physician or if they're an engineer and you think, I really think I want to be that someday, then pay attention to that and ask them questions, bother them, try and find out more about their job, because that's the only way you'll learn and figure out if this is what you're really meant to do.
Hi, my name is Dejon Smith, and my question is it hard to transition from being on Earth to outer space?
So I think the biggest thing is learning how to move, right? So on Earth, you can't do this. And here you can, and it's really cool because you can float around. And I had to learn very quickly that my hands weren't everything. I had to learn how to hold onto things with my feet. And at first I looked really awkward floating around the space station because I was grabbing every handrail with my hands. And my crewmates who had been there for a while said, slow down, hold on, use your feet. Your feet work great. It's like a second set of hands. And so probably after a week or two, space begins to feel more and more natural. And the best part is, at dinner time, we don't have to stand like I am upright to eat. I can turn here and go on my side, or even upside down to eat. It doesn't matter. And we can utilize every bit of space we have on board the space station. Because when you have all this 3D volume, it makes it much easier to get around and to move around people. So it's kind of neat because on Earth we just don't have that luxury. And again, at first we're not very graceful, I guess, ballerinas moving around the space station, but we get more graceful over time. And when you watch people float by you, you realize how much fun it is. And for no reason, someone will do a flip just like I did in the middle of dinner. And that's fun to watch too.
Hi, my name is Olivia, and I wanted to ask who your inspiration was when you were growing up.
And Olivia, another good question. I get that question a lot, and I have to say that there's not one person who inspired me while growing up. I felt like everybody from my family who always supported me to a lot of my teachers in high school and in college, everybody would provide a little bit of inspiration along the way when I told them what I wanted to do. And so when people support you like that, and when their first answer isn't no or isn't, well, that's really hard to do, you need to pay attention to that person because anything is possible. And, you know, if I had a nickel for every time somebody told me that it was nearly impossible to get into the astronaut corps and the chances were very, very low, you know, I'd be a pretty rich woman today because that happened a lot. But then there are those people that you know and you love, like your family and your friends, who will support you no matter what. And those are the people, when you look back, that you realize inspire you.
Hi, my name is Janelle, and my question is, how long did it take to build the space station?
Wow, okay, so our first module, Zarya, was put up here in 1998, and the final module, the Leonardo, was in 2011. So it took many, many years to build the space station. Of course, through the use of the space shuttle, that's how we got a lot of these huge parts up here. And when we finished building the space station, the most important part came around at that point, and that was using the space station for what it was meant for, and that's science. And I think we've done a really good job since that time of performing as much science as possible during the week. And actually, one of my favorite things to do, especially towards the end of the week, is to look forward to the next week and see what science we get to do. And for example, the cancer research I told you about, it's just been fantastic. I love getting up and seeing that on my schedule because it's so important to do. But it did take us quite some time to construct this and build this. We learned a lot. And if you think about it, when we put these modules together up here, all the parts of the space station, we never put them together on the ground first. We had to design very well and talk with a lot of other countries and make sure they fit together for the first time up here in space, which sounds impossible. But you know what? It all worked. And now we have this huge space station that's about the size of a 5-bedroom house inside. It's pretty big.
Hi, my name is Madison, and I want to know how long it takes to go to space and come back to Earth.
So I'll give you an example. When my crew, it was myself, Alex, and Sergey, when we launched on June 6th to come to the space station, it took us about 2 days to get up here. You can get up here faster depending on when you launch and some other factors. But our trip up here took about 2 days. You know, knock on wood, if we needed to get back home, we could do that pretty quickly. If you think about it, people think the space station is really far away from Earth and orbits really far away. But if you look at it, the space station sits very close to the Earth's surface. And so one of our favorite things to do is to look out that window because we can see so many different landmarks like the Great Wall of China, different cities, especially at night. And so it doesn't take too long to get up here. It was a pretty fast trip for us. And yesterday the Russians launched a supply vehicle, no people, just supplies, and it got up here pretty quickly within a matter of hours. So we get better and better all the time at doing this. And I think our next challenge is how quickly could we get to a planet like Mars?
Hi, my name is Attorney, and my question is, what education do you need to be an astronaut?
So what I tell people is NASA loves all different types of education to go into the astronaut corps. We have doctors like myself, we have engineers, we have scientists, geologists, chemists, military test pilots, flight test engineers, all over the map. So what I tell people is don't pick a certain specialty. Don't go into a field because you think NASA will like it. You need to choose what you're going to do because you like it. And for me, that I started off in engineering and then went to medical school and absolutely love it. And for me, that is my passion. I love being a physician. And so you need to make sure that whatever it is you do, you absolutely love it. And when you wake up every morning, you're happy doing that. That's what NASA wants to see. But here's the big thing. So definitely, once you're done with high school, you need to get yourself into a 4-year university. And then after that, if you can, try and get your advanced degree, meaning meaning like a master's degree or a doctorate. So, but you do, again, what is right for you. And you're going to know, once you get into school, what's right for you. Most importantly, it's okay to change your mind. I changed my mind in the middle of college. I thought I'd be in engineering my entire life. And right before my junior year, I decided to go pre-med and decided to go into medical school. I still got my engineering degree, but it led me off into medicine. And it is okay to change your mind. There is plenty of time, and you just need to listen to what you think is right for you. And I listen to my parents, and I listen to my friends. And for me, I learned, and when I look back now, that medical school was absolutely the right choice for me. But I had to change my mind right in the middle of college.
On behalf of the NASA Glenn Research Center and the True to You Summer Learning Academy, we want to thank you, astronaut Serena, for your time today speaking to our future leaders. Let's give her a round of applause, everyone.
It was great talking with you guys. Congratulations and good luck on everything.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants from Glenn Research Center. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communication.